They're fairly reasonably... Thanks for the furball. Back in the bathroom. I've been asked a lot recently about the eyeshadow that I wear and how I apply it. And I'm going to be honest, I've been avoiding doing any sort of eyeshadow tutorial, and here's why. I get nervous about putting on my makeup in front of people. And it takes me a long time to get the look that I want. It has nothing to do with the product that I'm using or the brushes. I think they're fabulous, but sometimes I make mistakes. Perhaps I'm too heavy-handed or I go too far out the lid. I've done it all. I'm going to do it today. Take all of my eye makeup off and walk you through what I do to achieve this look 7 days a week. I use a lot of different eyeshadows, but I'm going to stick with a few of the ones that are my favorites this season. The thing is, you've got to find eyeshadows that work for you, and I'm gonna have some suggestions for you. The blendability factor is something I'm still working on. We're all still working on ways to better apply our makeup, do our hair. That's why we're all here. So my eye makeup routine involves 5 different colors and probably double the amount of brushes. The reason there are so many brushes and so many eyeshadows is to get that dimension. I always start with my Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Eye Powder. I do this so that I can catch any of the extra flaking off that is bound to happen whenever I'm blending. So that way when I'm done with my eye makeup, I can simply swipe it off with my powder brush and my makeup is finished. That easy. I apply the Secret Brightening Powder pretty generously. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. The first brush I'm going to use, I call this my Big Mama. It is a dense brush, pretty thick. I'm not using it for any sort of blending purposes. I just use it for an all-over color. All of the eyeshadows I'm using today are MAC products. I like MAC because they're long-lasting. The blendability is wonderful. They are fairly reasonably priced, and they also have some fun colors. All the brushes are a mix between MAC or Sephora, Ulta. There's a slew of different ones. I mentioned Big Mama here, and I start off with my vanilla. You can see I've used quite a bit of it, and I really don't use very much. So just FYI, always tapping before I actually put it on. And I always hold the brush at the very end so that I don't apply too much, but I'll start off just kind of an all over touch up here. I almost forgot to mention, do not forget you have to make sure that you have an eye primer. So where is mine? Urban Decay. This is the eyeshadow primer potion. I like it because I can use it with a wand, and I usually put it on my pinky and dab it, but you can use it with the applicator as well, so you're not wasting a bunch of it. Urban Decay, I mean, once you put this stuff on, your eyeshadow isn't going to go anywhere. So please do not put an eyeshadow on without using some sort of a primer, or you're wasting your product. A little vanilla. Next color I use, and I've got a MAC brush here. This is number 224, and it's basically just a blender. And I use the color, if I can find the name. This color is called Kid, and I've been trying to find a way to describe what color it is, but one tone darker than flesh? I don't know. Anyways, it's a great color to put in the crease just to start that buildable look. Use my blender brush here. Tap. Okay, by the way, apologize. I make this weird face when I put my makeup on. We all do it. We all have like a weird... I'm sorry, it's ugly, I know. But we all have this weird face when we put our makeup on. So forgive me if I look kind of weird, but I can't help it. It's my makeup face. I call it my makeup face. I just sort of blend. I don't go too far in. I keep it out. So just blend, blend, and keep on building. And you can work it up some because we're gonna blend that in here in a minute anyways, so it's no biggie. I just don't go too far in. But if you look at that, there's already some pretty color. It's just a nice neutral color. Neutral, not flesh. It's a nice neutral color that you can use really with anything. Here is the fun color. I'm going to call it the party color. It is called Expensive Pink. I mean, doesn't that just sound like fun? Expensive pink. It's not glitter. It's just got that kind of sheen to it. I don't like to use glitter. I feel like it then flakes everywhere throughout the day. At least that's been my experience. So I just think this is the most absolute fun color ever. And I'll put it on my lid. And I really find that it adds that little pop when you blink and you're like, ooh, look at that, expensive pink. Different brush. This brush is fairly dense. This is number 14. It's just Pro Shadow is all. It's just an eyeshadow brush. Get my nice little expensive pink and then we'll tap tap. Hold it at the end and start with the lid. And because this color, it totally flakes, which is why, again, I have my secret eye brightener because it's going to catch it all and we'll remove it here in a bit. Look how pretty that is. Look how pretty. I try not to get too close to the inner corner of my eye because I don't want a lot of eyeshadow building up in that corner. So I try to keep it away from there because then it does this weird shadow thing. So on the lid, a little bit over, out here towards the corner. Next color I like to use in the outer crease of my eye is called Embark. It's not terribly dark, but it's the way to really get that extra pop on the ends. And so I'm going to use that with a smaller brush. So I'll start with applying it with this MAC brush. It's number 210 on the corners to have a little bit more control so it doesn't go everywhere. But then to really get that blendability, I will use the Pro Airbrush crease brush. Now, I'll just use this one barely on the ends if I'm having a bad day and I can't seem to get my outer crease shadow to blend very well. This is like my backup. Otherwise, I've used it in the middle too. It saved me a few times from having streaky looking eyeshadow. This brush is Sephora and it's number 31. It is crucial if you are using a darker color like this one to make sure you hold it at the end so you don't over apply it. Let's get to blending. If you feel like it's getting too dark in the corners, I'll go back to my kid color and I'll work around it a little bit to soften the edges when it comes to the darker colors. Now that most of my color is blended out, I'm going to work on the highlighter and then I'm really going to work on blending them all together. The next color I'm going to use is called Vapor, and Vapor has a tinge of an iridescent. It is lighter than the vanilla I used. I find that it's something a little bit more subtle and it's very creamy. When I'm using the Vapor, I have another Pro blending brush, and this one is from Sephora. It's number 27, and I only use it with the lighter colors, and I find that it is easy to fix everything with my Pro Blender. I like to go back in with the Vapor towards the corners of my eyes and blend everything together, and I also do it on the outside of my eyes too. I have one more brush that I use, and it is towards the top of the brow. It's called the Squirrel Precision 2. But you see, I kind of felt like I went a little bit too high there, so I'll use this to blend down so that the Embark doesn't go up too high on my lid. I find that it's just kind of a nice little highlighter instead of like a scream at you highlighter. That's even a thing. Let's keep blending. If you want, there is a brush called the Mini Squirrel Crease, the Squirrel Precision 2. Like in its name, it's more precise, so that you can really even everything out. You can see why it takes me so long to do my eye makeup. Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's blended as best I can, and sometimes I will be heavy-handed, so I've got to work it back a little bit, but you're getting the idea. I'm gonna close my eyes for you. So you see that I do the expensive pink all over the lid. I've got the corners in that darker color and then more of a neutral in the middle with the highlighter up top. Blend these out a little bit and then I'll be done. Done. So now I will take my powder brush and just swipe off any of the excess brightening powder and the makeup. If you ever feel like perhaps you've gone out of the boundaries of your eyes, that's where Big Mama comes back in, and I'll go clean that up on the outside to make sure that it's not extended past my eyelid. Okay, so now I will apply a liquid eyeliner and I will apply a few swipes of mascara, my falsies, if I don't have extensions on, which I don't right now, and then I'm done. Here is the finished look. So go ahead, I took a couple of pictures once I had my eyeliner on and mascara, and then I popped a pair of falsies on over that. I put the links to all of the colors of eyeshadow and the brushes that I used today in the description box. Do yourself a favor. Get that expensive pink. It's not that expensive and it is the most fun color ever. It'll get everybody's attention. That's my biggest suggestion. So anyways, the links are below in the description box, and if you have an eyeshadow or a technique that really works for you, a favorite brush, let me know. Comment below. Don't forget, if you like what you saw, hit the like button and subscribe for a new video. Have a great week.